Well, welcome to SNG Weekly. As you can clearly see by the hat I'm wearing, it is the holiday seasons. For us, it's Christmas, and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, because there will not be a show on Christmas because it will be Christmas.
So, and it's Hanukkah!
And it's Hanukkah, and there's other stuff too. But in general, Merry Christmas, everyone. And I want to thank you, and Mary wants to thank you for all the support that we've had from all of you watching our show this year. Now, this week, you're going to see a lot of work being done on our Martian's Attacks Alien, or Martian. We've got all kinds of stuff to do in that puppet. It is so involved. There's so much to do on it. Eye mechanisms and making the face move and padding up the body and making the armature. You're going to get to see how that's all done on a shoestring budget using household items and things you find in your garage and kit bash pile. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And also, I want to thank again Mike Dawkins for so kindly sending us the big, giant TWA Moonlighter, all 40 inches of her when she's assembled, to build. It was damaged. He had left it sitting, didn't think he'd ever get back to it, thought that'd be a nice thing to send us for Christmas. And I'm just thrilled because my father took me to Disneyland in 1959, I'm pretty sure it's 59, and I stood in front of the big full-size rocket, and it had such an effect on me. And of course I always wanted one, just like I always wanted the Nautilus that I went and saw, which was an exhibit right next to it, which they used to have that there. And I got the Nautilus, as you all know, but to get this is really something that just tickled my little inner child. Thank you, Mike, so much. So let's get on with our show. Well, it's time to get back to Martian's Attacks SNG. Not that we've been away from it. There's been lots of paperwork done, lots, and I mean lots. Storyboards and all kinds of stuff, which is hard to see here. Scripts, everything we've been working on. But it's time to start getting the spacecraft and the Martian finally finished. And what I'm doing here is making a basic brass armature, which will be hinged for our puppet. And I'm trying to proportion the head, which got bigger compared to our original drawing, to fit to what we have now. And I think the proportions are pretty good. It's kind of eyeballed, a little bit of sketching. I've cut all the parts, and now to figure out how to hinge them. And get them to work so that they go the directions I want and not the directions that I don't want. I think that was right. So we got this stuff all welded up now, so it's very nice and strong. Got a neck post for this, and what I've done is I've made a hinge. It's not real spectacular, but it's very functional. And this hinge goes in here, like so, and that presses in. It goes in a little further than what you see, but there it goes. And that so. It cannot go further than there. It also can rotate forward and backwards, which is what you need on this. So what I'm doing is I'm making another one, and you see how I'm doing it. Basically, that goes inside there, and then that goes inside this piece here, which I have to cut out accordingly, and then drill a hole through and put a hinge. It's very, very simple, but you don't want that unnatural bend back. You want it to move like a real socket. So since we're on a budget, and I thought, gee, I can get some radio controlled model airplane hinges and stuff. They're probably not strong enough. This is going to work better. Bit by bit. Now I've got the arms, which can go up about that high, maybe a little higher if I grind them out some more, but I really don't need them to. Plus, they come forward and go backwards, and they can't go back out unnaturally. So this very simple hinges again. You can see that I did there, nothing real fancy, but very solid, and it's going to work. So that's what really counts. Now to figure out the hip, which goes backwards, forwards, out, and in. So I'm almost thinking I might get away with a hinge on that. We'll see. Or I might do another one of these. Gotta think about it for a second. And of course the legs will be the same. And look at that. Okay, we've got it all, and it works really good, and everything locks the way it should and turns the way it should and rotates. And these are a little stiff still. I got to go in and just bore them out a bit up in there, but he's He's working the way he should. This is going to make a nice puppet. I'm going to clean everything up here and tidy it up a bit, although I don't know why. It's all going to be under foam. But that does that. Now, the only reason I didn't do something here is because he's got this whole hard outfit on, just like the original Mars Attacks guy. He ain't going to be able to bend in there. You know, there's no way. He's never going to be seen without that on. So there's no reason to do that. So everything's hinged that needs to be hinged. Of course, the hands will be added later. There will be a cable coming down here that moves to the hands to make them do this. It'll either come through here or on the outside. I haven't figured out yet which way, but I wanted to get this done first so that we've got his skeleton. Now, I'm going to just build this out with some just foam and some foam on here and stuff, but I got to get the hands figured out before I can pad this. These are fine. There'll be rods that'll be attached to, there'll be a rod post that goes in here so that we can rod puppet it. That'll be green screen. In fact, the puppeteer will be all in green. We have to make a green suit for him. It'll probably be me. And thanks to Bloody Bobby, we're going to be probably shooting this upside down, which I think will be, it was a great idea. It was his idea, and he thought that I could let gravity kind of work for us that way, but we'll see. Over here, it's back to work on the Martian, and you can see I've got the skin off the underskull. I have to do some work on that. The main thing I want to do is make a neck piece for it, and what I've decided to do was to, this slips over here very nicely, and down on that. Really it does. So, and I'm going to segment this and put some really stiff springs in between the segments, because I can't move the head a lot. I can move it right and left, a little forward and back, side to side, because it's going to be inside the helmet. So it occurred to me that I can just make a very simple neck mechanism that way, which is what I'm going to start on. So, of course, the next step, well, maybe I should go back a bit. Here is a spring running all through this. These are segmented, and it wasn't quite resilient enough to keep the head from falling over easily. So I put some clear tubing over it, which really makes it nice. Before Rosie interrupted, but this really, I'll put my elbow on it since I don't have my tripod. Now you can see this really, really flexes and snakes really, really nice. And that's all the movement we need because his head's going to be inside the helmet. This gives it more structure, more support. This is going to fit inside here, so I've cut this all out to lighten it, plus eventually we're going to have our eyeballs in there that turn and move. So I needed to cut those open, and also, I'm still getting dust out of it, somewhere around here is his jaw, and the jaw, of course, will be hinged as well. There's the jaw. So going to have his jaw like that, so the jaw can open and close the mouth. Of course, we'll put cables up here to make the lips move when he talks. Yes, he talks. He doesn't go yak yak or ek ek or whatever the heck was in that darn movie. Likewise, I'm going to have to cut out these eyebrows pretty soon and add cable to that too. But I think most of this is going to be controlled by internal servos, and any cables that we'll have will be to operate the hands if I have them move. So the next thing is to take this piece of brass and put it in there and lock it in with some Bondo so that it can slip onto this, so I can remove the head if I need to. Okay, here we got the jaw hinge. You can see how that works, and there'll be a bar inside and a cable comes up and pulls down on it. I don't think the servo is going to operate this, but it might. We have to play around with the hinge a little bit. It has some play in it, which I want, so I can move it all around, but it works pretty good. Found the other tripod. So the head's mounted down. Really, you can see that it stands up on its own. So that's like muscles in it. This is just exactly what I need. Got plenty of room to open and close the jaw. So what I'm going to do now is kind of slip this on, see what we get. With the extra added weight of the silicone, you know it's going to be a little tougher. Harder to keep the head straight, but it's going to have a pole in the back of it, the head mounted in the back, to keep the head level and be able to move it. And Rosie, When this opens up in the mouth, we're going to have the eyes open pretty soon. I'm going to back off. Oh yeah, this works great. So you can see really how well this all works and the way the lid's been. And when I hold it like this, the head holds its level itself. Yet I can turn it, bend it this way, bend it back, move it this way. It stay level on its own, which helps a lot with the puppeteering. So this worked out really well. And there's our little guy and the skeleton. So there was one other problem with the arms moving, and that is that I didn't have this rotation. Now I do, because what I did is I made a cut there, and I put a piece inside a piece. So now when I come up like this, I can really position this to hold the gun, to come out straight like this, and go like that. So that was a big deal and a very easy fix to do too. So I'm really pleased how that came out, because you know he's going to be holding the gun like so, and by the trigger, and then he's going to have his other hand. And you need to have that elbow back, which it will do because this rotates this way, right? So I can have the elbow well back and holding the other part of the gun. So that worked out really well. I'm really happy because I overlooked that simple rotation there, which you really need to have, because our arms do this. Okay, as you can see here, I've made a little stand so you can stand. Haha, get it? Stand up. I've started on some feet just out of pink foam, and you can do a lot of construction on this from pink foam, because again, keep in mind that it's going to have boots on, which will go over those forms you saw, and gloves on, and this is all fabric, and this is a very hard material made to look like brass, which will be styrene. So what I want to do next and get started is I've been finding servos and things. I bought some tubing, some fine piano wire. I'll show you what I'm going to use that for in a while. These are things for rods and control rods and that kind of stuff. But what I want to do is get the hand started, and we need to take some styrene, make some palms, and then we need to make a mechanism to make the fingers flex a bit. So I want a basic mechanism that I can do this with, so we can point and do stuff like that. Basically what I've done is made a real simple template here, so I could get an idea of the hand size and how it looks proportionally to everything else. Comparing it to myself, where my hands reach to the knees, I based all the proportions off a human body, my own, and of course the hand, the palm, your palm in general, above your brows a bit. I seem to have that here with this guy. I have to orient him, but you know, it's about the same, so we should be good. I may make the well, the tubes, which I haven't talked about. These are going to be cut off, and I'm going to take some Teflon, or not Teflon, but some polyethylene tubing. Now, when I was thinking about this, because I've used polyethylene tubing in the past, I figured, where the heck am I going to get it around here in Ventura? And I said, oh boy, here's the big deal. We got to go online, look for stuff. And this weekend I was walking around, I was thinking, what uses that's common in the house? And I figured out it was do I have one handy? At the dollar store, some spick and span. Spick and span, and which had the right size and the right stiffness of this. And for $3, I got all the tubing I needed to make the fingers move. Now you're probably wondering, how am I going to do that? If you're new to making puppets, and especially making them on a budget, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make little segments. These are going to be mounted to this, like so, and there's going to be little pie sections taken out of this at each knuckle. Cables run through them, and when it gets pulled, the finger naturally does this. You'll better understand it when I actually do it. Okay, so there we go, and you'll notice that these are Mickey Mouse hands. That is to say that they are 3-fingered, 1 thumb. Well, it's an alien. I can get away with it. And it's 2 less mechanisms to deal with, and easier for Mary to make the gloves, because you're not going to actually see real hands, you're going to see gloves, so there's no reason to sculpt anything. So she's going to make gloves that fit over a mechanism, which we are going to show you next. Okay, so here's the basic idea. What I've done, of course, is I've used this tubing here. Geez, I hate it when this monitor is upside down. Right there. Okay. And, you know, I made little slices in it, which you can see, so that when the cable pulls, and this is jewelry cable, which Mary had, which, oh, I'm out of frame again. When you pull on the cable, it makes the fingers move. So that's, I have to remove some more material off the actual plastic, but this way he can have some movement. We probably will some epoxy sculpt, so these are locked in really well, but the principle is good. It works really well. I've done this in the past when you don't have time to do a really fancy mechanism, so we just got the jewelry cable going through there. In fact, if I cut a little bit more slicing out of the backs of these, they'll move a little easier, but they're moving pretty good, enough to grip the gun and make some gestures if need be. So the thumb, these are all going to be tacked to some music wire, which will go up a cable inside the arm. So, but that's the basic idea of how to make a really quick, you know, hand mechanism where you can get the hand to move. So I got a fair amount done for today. Of course, this is all going to blur together for you guys because you know, it's all going to be in one show. But as you can see here, we got the hands on. I put some epoxy sculpt on these so that they encapsulate the tubing. And of course, now what I have to do is I've got to rig these in a corridor that come out the back of the elbows and up through some supportive tubing, which I don't have yet, that will come out the back of the elbows. So when we're puppeteering it, these will be connected. The tubing will be connected to here, like so, so that I can move like so and like so. And of course, there'll be green on them so that we can do our composite. There's also going to be these control rods in the back, one in the back of the very back of this, and one in the head to control. And they won't be very long because we're going to be right there. And it may be that depending how things go with the green screen, I have to do a little roto work too, Tom. But hopefully not, because working in After Effects with green screen, if it's lit pretty well, even with the different contrasts that may be there as a result of lighting, we still should be able to key out anything that's green and just have this guy. Plus the background on him is quite dark because where I meet him on a rooftop and it's kind of dark up there. We may change that, and he actually is inside the building. I have to go back and read the script again tonight because we're shooting tomorrow. But it's good to be to this point here. We've got, you know, we got some feet on this guy, so I can start Mary can start working on the boots. I got to shape these a bit more. And what I'm going to do next here pretty quick is I'm going to build some foam onto the rib cage area, and then I'm going to take some sponge foam or the soft foam, and we're going to put that around this and around these to give it some form. That will be underneath the costume, and with any luck, I'm hoping by Thursday I can start on his actual whole spacesuit part up here, the hard part of it, with the gauges and the lights and that kind of stuff. So this is going really, really well. So back on the Slap Happy Martian, I'm just putting in some basic cable guides for here, because what's going to happen with this is these are going to be attached to the piano wire, which is going to be inside of a much longer tube out to here with some little rings on it and a grip. So you put your fingers in it and move the arms and flex the fingers at the same time. But for now, I want to be able to get the foam built up in the arms, so I need to get the guides in. I put a little tape over it so the foam won't catch. I'm going to do that on here too, but it works really well. Same tubing, and of course it won't fray the wire over brass. That's the idea here. Lots more done on this. As you can see, I've got a post in here, and basically that's so that these big dowels can fit inside for puppeteering the head and holding the body. They will come out when not in use for storage or for display, and you can see it's inside. It's really put a lot of epoxy or epoxy sculpt on it, as well as these had to be added, and you can see the cables go through these. They're actually going through more tubing so they won't fray, and eventually what will happen is that this will be attached over this wiring, which will be attached to piano wire. Will come out the backs of these when they're cut in half with little rings on it to move the fingers. We pretty much have everything in place now for this puppet. Of course, the head comes off, thankfully, very easily, so that I can get inside and do the mechanism for the eyes and the eyebrows and the lips and all that stuff, which is going to be interesting because it's really quite small, but I will be able to do it. So it may be that I have to run some cables out here, we'll see, and instead use a big piece of brass, and on the head have some controls that would allow it to move the lips. So as you're holding the head, you can make the lips move, and that way just use the servos to control the eyebrow movement and the jaw movement and the eye movement. So now we start doing a little bit of padding just to go underneath the costume, because keep in mind the costume is pretty puffy, so you know, really the costume is going to make most of the shape, but I need to have something under there other than just bones, so I'm putting a little bit of foam on there, some hot glue, and we're going to shape it a little bit more here and there and mess with it and stuff, but I'm basically just getting the basic form on. Did this to get the chest started. I'm going to wrap that in foam, wrap this in foam, wrap all this down here all in foam, all the way down. So we've got our alien here, and you know what? I really want to see, when the skin's on, some eyeballs in it. So I thought I wasn't going to do this right away, but I had this idea last night, and I thought, gee, this might be a really quick and simple way to do the eyeballs. You know the old roll-on deodorant? You know how the ball rolls inside the little cup? I thought to myself, well, gee, this is what you need to do. I'm going to cut out this piece of balsa here in a minute. I'm going to mount both these eyes in position to the holes with the skin on, and I'm going to cut this piece of balsa out with these glued on, and I'm going to vacuum form it. Now what's going to happen, of course, is there's going to be a big undercut all the way around these, and then I'm just going to cut off the tops so they can just pop in and out. Then from behind, of course the balsa wood will be gone, and it'll just be an opening back there. I'll be able to put a shaft in each one of them. The shaft will be connected so they can go right and left and up and down. The shaft is what keeps them together. It's kind of like a big U behind it with little hinges on both of them. So let's see how this plays out. So I was able to cut the balsa to fit in exactly, and you can see what I've got under there, and these are glued on. So theoretically I should be able to vacuum form over these and get the socket I need. I know Elliot's loving this, aren't you, Elliot? Well, it's sort of innovation. At the same time, it could be not work, but you can see that I'm going to have some rubbing there. I just have to grind away some of that material because it doesn't matter. As long as the eyes mount where I want them to go, and I can see I've got a nice area there to mount them to with some putty. So I'm going to vacuum form this. Okay, we're going to vacuum form this. The plastic's getting pretty bowy up here. turn on the vacuum first. I get this really hanging down there. Okay, we'll turn the vacuum on. That seemed to work. This action you saw out here, this is really a great thing about this vacuum form that Kobe so kindly gave to us. This vacuum form originally was used to make props by Kobe, who made a lot of props for Next Generation. In fact, tricorders and all kinds of cool stuff were made on here. But what the shop vac doesn't do, once this seals down, completely completes the job, like having a vacuum chamber. You can see how perfectly that sucked that stuff down. I mean, all the way around here. We got a web here. That's not a problem. In fact, it's actually a help. So we're going to release that, cut that, and see if they will fit and turn inside. Okay, so here it is. I managed to cut it just halfway, just like a deodorant roll-on ball, and I just stuck a shaft in the back there and just did a little paint on the eye there, and you can see now I can look right, left, up, down, anywhere we want it to. Of course, the orientation will be locked in by being connected to the other one across here. You got to remember to look through the viewfinder when I'm doing this stuff, but you see how well that works. This keeps rotating, but it won't do that once I connect the two together. You can look up, you can look down, look all around. Isn't that cool? So here's the TWA Moonliner from, of course, originally seen at Disneyland back in the 50s and 60s. One of my favorite ships. I know I talked about this before, but this was very badly damaged. And so what I did is I fixed the main structure with some epoxy sculpt, and then I jammed into these open holes just some clay for now, and made it level to the windows. It's hard to tell because the under material is gray and so is the clay, but what I figured would be the best thing to do is to pull an alginate on this and pour one up out of stone, and then tool the stone, and then vacuum form a new one. And that should allow, I should be able to cut the windows out on the vacuum formed one. I'll vacuum form it in white and then put the clear canopy underneath it. That's the theory. And so here we go. We got our alginate on there, which kind of acts like a temporary silicone. You've got to pour your material into it fast because it will shrink, but of course if it shrinks a little bit, it's not really going to hurt anything. It's going to be very minimal. But this is a really good way to retool something and not have to use silicone. Of course, once you've retooled it, you can either vacuum form it or use the tool to make another silicone. But this will set up a little bit, and we'll open this up and pour the stone. So I didn't trust that this would be absolutely flat. The alginate was so soft, so I decided to put some plaster bandage gauze on the back side of it, which will maintain its shape relative to the hull. So as soon as this hardens, I can take it off and fill it with stone. So here we've got our nice alginate mold. You can see how well it picked up the detail and transferred some of the clay, it looks like, on this side, so I have to clean that out, but it came out really, really good. So now all I'm going to do is pour this stone in there. So as you can see, I cleaned it out, and you can see I got the windows there really nice. So we're going to take this and pour in this stuff, this gobbledygook here. So they blow out some of that water. And this is UltraCal 30. You guys have seen me work with this before. And I'm going to make sure that there's no bubbles in there by agitating it. And I got this nice curve too from the fuselage by doing this, and which is good too because with that contour there, it's going to be really nice to vacuum form. Or make a silicone mold. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet with it, but basically we got that in there now, and what I'm going to do is wait for this to get a little bit thicker And then I'm going to add what's left of this and build it up kind of high and then cut it on the bandsaw. Because I don't think just like that it's going to be very strong. So I need to build it up a little higher for my purposes. But I used warm water, so I'm cheating a bit. It should go off really fast. I think this is sat long enough now, so let's open it up and see what we got here. It looks to me like we have a really good casting, and you can see how this is kind of messed up here, but I can sand this now very easily. This side is fine, but we're going to make that side look like this side, look like that side, and then we got something here to vacuum form, and I think that will give us exactly what we need. We'll find out tomorrow, because I'm going to do this tomorrow. We'll clean this all up and we'll do a test pull and see what we get. I think we're going to get something really good. Really came out quite well. Well, what a week. I know I always say that, but this week was really, really involved, and I really thought that I'd get a lot further with the puppet, but next week, of course, we'll start actually working on the costume part of it, which I'm looking forward to. Mary will be working on that, and I'll be working on getting the head mechanisms working and the skin on, the eyes made, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot more to come on that. I figure about another week or so before that puppet's done, but we're going to need it because we got to start shooting it. And tomorrow, Model Man Tom's coming up, and we're going to be shooting about a third of the movie tomorrow. So I'm very, very excited about that, and so is Mary, because she's going to be in it. She's an actress in the show. No, she says. Anyway, again, we thank you so much for all your support, all your subscriptions, and all the wonderful things that you've sent us this year. It's been incredible. We really love you a whole bunch, and we want to wish you a very safe and happy Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah.